The news that Nigeria's popular youth scheme, that's the National Youth Service Corps, has been scrapped or probably is no more in existence. Well, the National Assembly, precisely a member of the House of Representatives from Rivers State by the name Awayi Inubank Abianti, sponsored a bill seeking to repeal the NYSC Act. This has already been billed for a second reading at the House of Representatives. Today we'll be speaking on that particular issue, the proposal and the reaction of Nigerians towards this particular news. My name is Olabisi Olaniyi Oluwasegun, and in the studios this morning I have three gentlemen who would be talking extensively about it. I have a youth advocate, I have a former commissioner for youth and sports, and I have a legal practitioner also in the house this morning, Mr. Dayo Awude. He is the former commissioner of youth and sports in Ondo State. Thank you for coming.
Good morning, it's my pleasure being here.
I also have a youth advocate, Yemi Fashipe. It's nice to have you in the studio, Yemi Fashipe.
Good morning, thank you. Right.
Well, let me reserve my comments. I have a lot to say, but I'll reserve it for now. Okay, I also want to welcome Barrister Shola Jishafe. He's a regular on the show. Thank you for coming again.
Thank you.
Okay, quickly, NYSC is about 48 years now, thereabout, if I'm not mistaken. It was established in 1973 during the regime of General Yakubu Gowon, a former head of state. And now we're hearing this news about the House of Reps proposing a bill to scrap the scheme in its entirety. First, let's talk about how you took the news when you heard it, Mr. Maude.
Well, thank you. My first reaction simply was that move was ill-advised. It was something that would not do the nation any good, in my own view. The point is, what do we lose having it as it is? And what do we gain if we scrap it? And I think, in my own view, scrapping it would be would do injustice to this country and to the very basis of establishing it.
Now, talking about the basis of establishing NYSC, that's for those who do not know what NYSC is, that's the National Youth Service Corps, popularly known as NYSC actually. The aims and objectives of the scheme is to enable Nigerian youth acquire the spirit of self-reliance by encouraging them to develop skills for self-employment, to contribute to the accelerated growth of the national economy, to develop common ties among the Nigerian youths and promote national unity and integration. There we start from Yemi Fashipe. You're very conversant with the workings of the youth in Nigeria and how government has been handling issues pertaining to the youth in recent times. Would you say that these aims and objectives of the NYSC have been followed to the T?
Well, I think the NYC so far has deviated from the reason why it was established, and as it is, I also think scrapping it will not be the solution. If you ask me honestly, I just think it should be restructured and allow you to address basic issues, because the primary essence of the NYC was, after the Civil War, was to bring about unity across all the ethnic groups in Nigeria also, which I still think should be in place despite us, even though we have security challenges as we speak. That's why I feel it should be restructured. But basically, I think the House of Reps are being ill-advised if, as it is, they are proposing to scrap it. I don't think it's a good one so far.
Okay, he doesn't think it's a good one. Barrister Jishafe, what would you say?
Thank you very much. When I listen to why the reasons why the NYC was established, and you put it vis-a-vis what we have seen
so far,
I think I want to agree entirely with Fash that the idea that signposted the establishment of the NYC is no longer there. Well, I even, at a point in time, I was in the university, I prayed fervently that I will never serve. And I made that position that what it will mean is that those areas that require that I have to present my NYSC certificate, I will not go there. But as I was leaving the university, they upped the years upon, so I didn't serve. I only got an extension. And that gives me some sort of happiness.
You got an exemption?
Yes, I got an exemption. It gave me because when you look at why it was established, to bring about unity, is there unity among the Nigerian nation, even among the youths, or among those who are in controlling?
I've heard a lot of stories of people who are today married thanks to NYSC. A lot of people have their current jobs because of NYSC, and a lot of other stories.
I agree, my dear. Look at the percentage. What you do is a kind of look at the percentage. When you look at what is supposed to, what it ought to have done to the Nigerian nation, and then what it has done to the Nigerian nation, it is not because of those young men and women who served or who are supposed to serve. It is a systemic issue that there's this centrifugal force where you are pulling the country together. Another one is tearing the country apart, and there is no way. But to the fact that they want to scrap it, I think I want to agree with the previous speakers that you cannot throw away the baby and the bathwater. I think the position of Fash would have been more opposite.
Okay, probably we should
manage it.
Dig deeper into some of the reasons Mr. Bianti actually proposed that bill. It says, okay, let me read verbatim from the document now. This bill seeks to repeal Section 315, subsection 5A of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended on the following grounds. Incessant killing of innocent corps members in some parts of the country due to banditry, religious extremism, and ethnic violence. Incessant kidnapping of innocent corps members across the country. Another reason here is the public and private agencies and departments are no longer recruiting able and qualified Nigerian youth, thus relying heavily on the availability of corps members who are not being well remunerated and gets discarded with impunity at the end of their service here without any hope of being gainfully employed. Let's talk about that. I think that's a really valid point. It happens a lot. Maybe I should start with Fash.
Okay, please, you have to comment.
The reaction, what would be your reaction to this particular reason cited by Mr. Bianti, that a lot of these departments and agencies, companies hiring NYSC members, so to speak, do not pay them accordingly?
Yes, that's why I think firstly we have to start with every corps member being posted to their regions. We'll start from there, and because now I'm sure you agree with me that the level of insecurity in the country is alarming, and it will be posing risks to the lives of these kids if they are posted out of their comfort zone. So everybody should be allowed to serve within their regions. That's what I think. We'll start from there, and basically it should not just be limited to posting them to these places. Why not we introducing some military training and probably some type of police training to give them these experiences if we might need them for that, though it has to be optional, though we're not forcing them to that. For those who like to take up that training, let them go ahead and have that training. And just those who are specialists, who are professionals like doctors and the rest, should be posted to places where they need to go. Every other one should be posted to places where they can.
I understand where you're coming from. You have this, everybody actually has that picture of insecurity is the major reason NYSC is going to be scrapped, so to speak. It's a proposal, though it's not been ratified, but we're just saying that that is the reason this bill was proposed in the first place. But let's talk about this second reason he cited, Mr. Awude, the remuneration of NYSC members.
Well, for me, the issue of insecurity is a general one. If you are saying the scheme should be scrapped because of insecurity, then the nation should as well be scrapped. Because nothing is safe, no one is safe, the entire system is not safe for anybody. Whether you're a businessman or you're a corps member or you're a military person, it's not safe for anybody. So that cannot be a good reason for anybody to say, okay, it should be scrapped. Now, talking about people engaging corps members,
and
using
paying them,
and after that, well, they are not meant to be paid to start with. I was fortunate enough, I was blessed to be...
And then discarding them afterwards, that's also part of the reasons.
Yes. I was the chairman of the Governing Council of NYSC when I was commissioner. So I know a little bit of how the scheme works. Now, a corps member is supposed to be paid by the federal government.
Yes.
That is the only payment you are entitled to. Every other one is a privilege. All right? Now, establishments can engage corps members. If they have what to pay them, fine. I served in Cross River State. My monthly allowance was 1,000 naira then. And I did serve. So, if you say because they are not going to pay you well, you are not going to serve, then you have defeated the purpose itself. So what I'm trying to say is that whether they are paid well or not in their establishment, that is not enough ground to say it should be scrapped. We all know today that Nigerians are not well paid. Even those who have the so-called regular jobs, they are not well paid. How can you pay a rational person, a normal human being? Let's even say the person is not even married. How can you pay somebody 30,000 in the Nigeria of today and you want him to survive? So it's a general problem. It's not peculiar to the NYSC. So again, that cannot be enough reason to scrap it.
Okay, will you talk about the other parts where he said they are usually being discarded with impunity at the end of their service year without any hope of being gainfully employed?
The entire scheme is premised on a 1-year contract. Once that is achieved, once that is completed, then it's a different phase completely. So nothing compels you. Of course, if you have a corps member today serving in Adaba FM, maybe you have 10 of them, you want to absorb all of them. Next scheme, maybe in another 3 months, another 5 is posted here or posted there. You want to house all of it. It's not possible. So just stay within the confines of the scheme, which is just 1-year contract.
All right, let's talk about major bottlenecks in the scheme that could really make it difficult somewhat to achieve its original set goals in the first place, the objective that it was meant to achieve. What would you think the challenges of the scheme is as we speak today that is making it difficult for it to really achieve its full potential?
Number one is because government still running it like ministry. This bureaucratic sentiments. Number one, and the lack of will by the government. Even government and those running the scheme had forgotten the original idea. Many of them just used it as an opportunity to make money when they want to buy the boot, contracting, forwarding and backwarding in the place. All this Kurukere movement to take money from government posts. That NYSC is one of the most corrupt, and I'm saying it emphatically, one of the most corrupt institutions the Nigerian nation established. If you look at it, if we have 5 NYSC corps members in Adaba today, go and check their kits. Their kits are different. They have different shades, different qualities. That's number one. So government must first of all purge it of its corrupt tendencies.
What does that imply?
It implies that any system that is corrupt.
You talked about the quality, different qualities.
What I'm saying in essence is that because some of these things are, when they are supposed to buy a quality material for the corps members, they prefer to buy fake ones. My son served in River State. I saw what he brought. I saw it. I've been in an establishment where you see many of them. In my office now, I know how many of them are around. So I know. And I interact with these people. That is number one. Government itself must be prepared. Despite the problem that they have highlighted in the bill, they are not strong enough to say you want to scrap. If you talk about security, it is not only during this period that NYSC people die. During election, Mr. Ude, we have seen NYSC members that were killed.
A lot of them.
Many of these people died on the road when they were going to for their service. Why is it impossible for the Nigerian government to do good roads so that our youth don't die on the roads?
Okay.
These are issues that government must look at. It's not just waking up one moment. And the reason why you cannot even trust the Senate or our legislative is that you can just wake up this following that and discover that they have passed it. Because there are no people who have this ideological to understand positions and perspectives of what a system, how a system should run.
Well, in all sincerity, Mr. Abude, would you say that everyone in Nigeria, including myself, everyone in Nigeria is scared at the moment because of the level of insecurity that we have in the land?
Absolutely.
Would you say that the call for the scrapping of NYSC at this moment, given the current realities in the country, is not justifiable?
It is not.
It is not.
Under whatever platform, it is not. If you have to do that, then you have to do several other things. People still travel to
scrap the police too.
Scrap the police. I mean, if I have admission and I have to go to Unijos, would I not go? I have to go. So the NYSC scheme cannot be. Is it the guinea pig they call it now, or the scapegoats, as it were, for the insecurity in the system? Like Fash said, we can restructure it. I believe in that.
Now, talking about restructuring, what sort of restructuring would you like to see in the NYSC?
For instance, the scheme is poorly funded. It's poorly funded. I was chairman of governing council. I know the nitty-gritty of what was going on. For instance, the scheme is a federal government scheme, but the federal government requires that the states should provide the facilities to house the core members. It's your scheme. Now you are pushing part of your responsibilities to the states. If you are giving what belongs to you to take care for you, I may not take care of it as I ought to. In other words, if the federal government wants to do this, they should do it and do it well. Now, we have ETF in this country, education tax or trust fund. Education trust fund. We have that in this system to finance the education system, isn't it? Now we can as well have the NYSC trust fund, such that every contract in this country, every person that is making money in this country will remit a small percentage to that trust fund, such that you can have proper maintenance, such that you can even give grants to NYSC members who have acquired skills. So the scheme has to be properly funded. It's not a question of restricting them to a certain location. I was born in Ondo State and I served in Osun. What experience have I really gained? I don't believe in that, really. Let people go to wherever they want to go to, and what the scheme has to be structured in such a way that it's properly funded.
It talked about more funding.
Can I add to that?
Okay.
With respect to, I think the idea of restricting them that Fash mentioned was in respect of security. For me, I do not think that is definitely out of place, but it has to be for a period. Because of the avalanche of security challenge we have now, if my son were to go to Yobe State or this thing, I can prevent him from going.
Yeah, of course.
I can do that. But for now, let people decide that, okay, let people serve in areas that are not as
in their region.
Yes, in their region, because they may know the terrain. If there is Wahala in Osun, I may have a family in Osun, I can. But when you take my son to Yobe or Gumbi or somewhere that he doesn't know anywhere, and because of ethnic or whatever, is expired. I wouldn't like that. For some time, maybe for 2 years or 3 years, until government is able to deal with the current mischief of insecurity, then we can see that. Then we can go back to where we are, or declare an emergency in the NYSC scheme. I want to maintain that currently the scheme has lost focus.
Okay,
but losing focus does not mean it cannot be redirected or upgraded to where it's supposed. I think it was Mr. Awudi who talked about, Fash, who talked about the issue of converting it to military, because these people have competence. They have competence. The Nigerian youths are very, very competent, and they could be used to achieve a lot of things. But when after using them for just 12 months and you discard them, it is now the responsibility of their parents.
Okay, a lot of reactions have greeted that particular development. Yesterday I was scrolling through some messages on Twitter, and I saw a lot of hilarious comments on social media. I'd like to read a few of them, but before that, let me quickly inform my listener that you can also be part of the discussion. You can as well call us to tell us what you feel about this particular issue. Do you think NYSC should be scrapped? Should it be suspended? Should it be restructured? Whatever it is your opinion is, please feel free to call us on 0908-177-8793, 0816-251-9991. Numbers again, 0908-177-8793, 0816-251-9991. Okay, a lot of people beginning to especially use. Okay, we have someone on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, sister. How are you?
Thank you for joining us. What's your name?
I'm Comrade Oluwasegun from Owo.
All right, let's go ahead.
I want to submit that the aims and objectives upon which the NYSC was created the other time or established, has expired and lost its glory. So the essence of the issue of National Youth Service Corps or whatever is no longer in existence. The aims and objectives and even the focus as is no more in line with whatever we have in this country. The unification is no longer there. You look at the 6 geopolitical zones in this country. It's no longer in use. It is antiquated and it is obsolete. Thank you. Comrade Oluwasegun from Owo.
All right, thank you very much. I read this comment before I go to my next question. This is from Jimmy HQ on Twitter. He says, let them scrap it. Send every graduate on 1 month orientation camp where there will be taught self-defense and economics, just like Fash said, and at the end, multiply their 1 year stipend and pay them as startup for business. Do you think that would be a better alternative?
Well, I don't think so. Yeah. This is beyond finance, so to say. I say, okay, calculate the 12 months and pay them once, let them go. No, I don't. For me, like I said, I served in Cross River State. Up to today, that was well over 20 years ago. Up to today, I still count myself as part of that system because I was integrated into that system. I picked a lot. So what you gain from NYSC, I'm sorry for my friend who didn't serve.
Yes.
I always tell people, if you did not serve, your education is half. The university is part A, NYSC is part B. Honestly, so for whatever reason, yes, orientation camp is fine, you learn a lot, but after that, you continue to learn. There are things you cannot pick off the shelf.
There's this theory. I don't want to call it. It's been stipulated by a section of the society actually that NYSC is meant for the masses, in quote. It is that there are some selected few that decide on what they want when it comes to NYSC, where they are posted, whether or not they even go for the for service in the first place, and all of that. And that boils down to the issue of equity in Nigeria, equity and equality. Yemi Fash, what would you say to this?
Well, I would still like to talk about the like I said, my position is restructuring of the system, not scrapping it. And when we're talking about restructuring, I have about 2-3 points that should be really addressed. First is the regional posting. That is really important. I understand the angle Mr. Alde talking from, and that was Nigeria of yesterday. As we speak now, I can say categorically that our security system is messed up, and this is the worst we have had in the history of this country in terms of insecurity. Is worse. So that singular factor validates the fact that NYSC members should be posted to their regions, and regions where we are volatile should be avoided totally. Like nobody should be posted to Borno and some other places like that.
Even if you're a graduate from Niger State, you should be posted to outside.
If
your region.
Volatile places should be excluded.
That's part of restructuring you.
Yeah, exactly. Unless we deliberately sacrifice these people to the animals that are trying to occupy our country. And secondly, the EU of funding, they should be funded. Probably, I don't understand, I don't know deeply into it. It's either they're not properly funded or the funds are not being channeled properly. So whatever it is, it should be addressed. Then secondly, the posts NYSC should be considered too. Like if I'm aware they're being paid about 30K now, it will not be out of place if half of that they hand while they're working, the 7, then half of it is paid in some lump sum, and you can probably start something
at the end.
At the end, because we don't have jobs. As we speak, the number of youths we have now, the government cannot.
The truth is, on completion of NYSC, a lot of people remain home for about 10-15 years without jobs.
Exactly. So if you have about maybe 100 or 200K startup, you can try and do something before you can get something better. So that really needs to be addressed. That's way I think.
So what would this giggle mean, Mr. Ajishafe?
Well, to a very large extent, I think I agree with Fash. But I'm an African man, and to enter the African market, there are many routes to the African market. I want to believe that if you say, okay, pay 15,000 naira for those guys now, and keep 15,000 naira, Emena will still take away this money.
15,000 naira times 10, that's 150.
Then another
that's 180. 180,000
naira. At the end, when they finish their NYSC, it is either they tell us that one Kineun or one Python or one Mina has eaten this money.
Corruption.
Yes. So rather, I will see. I think, like I was saying, it is the system that is wrong in Nigeria. It is not Nigeria that is bad. It is the system. Those who run
those who are managing the system. Yes,
they know how to mismanage, and when they mismanage, there is this elite conspiracy to cover up the mismanagement of the system.
Okay, we have someone on the line. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Edith on the line from Igoba.
Thank you for calling, Doctor.
Yes, please. I almost wanted to stop and hear the last speaker.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Yeah, the system is to a great extent one of the problems. Please don't keep any gratuity for them. I'm talking. That's my opinion now.
Okay.
Let them save it themselves, because we may still talk stories about that. So I'm not in support of scraping NYSC. Please, it is one of the few thin strings holding this country as one now. Yes. So let's try to fight the corruption that is in it, just like it is in every other sector outside that in the country. The beauty of, so that when we go for these schemes, we see the beauty. The remaining, there could be a little love that could be stirred on other tribes if we go there, because some of us have not left the confines of our tribes and we can talk anyhow about them, not seeing any beauty in them. It's NYSC that has been able to open up the love of some people for some people. So it shouldn't be scrapped, please. Let's fight. And in my own opinion, they should stop this NYSC students or whatever. They should stop them from being involved in politics in any form, whether as any form, because the political aspect that they put them into seems to endanger them more than any other thing. That's my opinion, please.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for being a part of the discussion. Okay, Fash, You were going to say something because I saw your finger up.
Yes, I'm not sure what she meant by they should not be exposed to politics.
Maybe this going during election.
Okay, maybe during election. Or probably that because we are the verge of wanting to take over as young people.
Well, I don't think that position of doctor.
Okay, let's quickly answer this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
And brothers over there. Calling from Edo State. Hello?
Yeah, what's your name? We're with you.
Hello?
We can hear you. What's your name? All right. There seems to be a problem with that line. You can call us back, please.
Yeah, I don't think this issue of preventing these young people from participating in the election process is bad. They are part and parcel of the Nigerian system.
It's even part of the training.
It's part of the training.
Part of the training.
Let them do it. In fact, they are the best people
Hello?
to do it.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is Oluwasegun on the line.
Your name again?
Oluwasegun.
Oluwafemi. Okay, thank you for joining us.
Yes, my thoughts as regards the scrapping of the NYSC is that I think it's a scheme that was created as an act of parliament, and I think with time it has not moved with the trajectory at which the individuals are moving, because there's no technological phase to it. That's one. And the issue of putting core members at a place whereby they have to teach students subjects. For instance, I had a friend that studied biochemistry in school, and he's not teaching biology either at the secondary level or teaching basic science at the primary level. It is not everyone that has the competence to teach others, or not everyone that has the boldness to face a large number of students. What I think is that they should put in some technological innovations into it to make sure that it goes in tune with what we are having today. And the issue of them having a large number of them, in the sense that when they are done with the whole NYSC thing, you see that a large number of them, they don't get jobs at the end of the day. And big up to Yemi Fash. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So Yemi Fash is the only person you see here, Abi. You are hearing his voice. Yeah, okay.
So like I was saying.
Yeah.
You see, I do not think but the NYSC taking part in the election, they are even the best, because they know the kind of Nigeria they wanted and the kind of candidates or people that will affect and establish that type of Nigeria. If they say our leaders have failed, it behoves of them to hold that responsibility, not to allow our election to fail. That's number one. Talking about what my brother Awude said about bringing us together, and like that doctor said, I agree. My son served in Rivers State, particularly in Eleme. He was taken to a village but he called me, Daddy, I want to help these people. I want to say, through Taiwo, I know how many bags Ghana must go of but if I have known you, then I will have come to come and collect many of your old shoes, old bata, old this thing that we. They said they took it to many villages, remote villages in those areas, and they were integrated into the system. Yes, okay. So it is good, and he still has friends.
Hello, good morning.
In those places.
Hello.
Good morning. We're with you.
Good morning, ma.
Thank you for calling. What's your name?
Yes, my name is Akule Dominic, calling from Latvia.
Okay, please go ahead.
It should not be scrapped. Thank you.
All right, that was quite concise. It doesn't want NYSC scrapped.
No.
Okay. I don't really understand why we're shying away from this question that I asked earlier.
Which is
Mr. Awude.
Which is
there's this notion in the public that the NYSC is actually for the masses, for a larger percentage of Nigerians who actually fall under the category of ordinary Nigerians. Some elites who actually formed. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Reverend J.I.O. Ologu JP from Voice on the Line.
Oh, good to have you, Reverend.
An attempt to scare away NYSC, it is very, very dangerous. I want to appeal to the federal government. They must not try it at all.
If they don't want this country to separate, they should try to bring these three regions together. We are together. So I want to beg my sister, after this message, I want you to take it off. Let them not make attempt of doing it. If they try it, it is a step to separate this country. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you very much. Taking it up wouldn't actually be in my place. I'm not an authority, and I just do my job as a journalist.
Your voice will resonate.
What you were talking about, the question. Make it clear. The question we're talking about.
The fate of the workers of NYSC.
Okay. Well, I don't know what you meant by the NYSC being for the masses.
I think what you were saying is that there's a separation. There's a separation. Some are elite. Some are the children of the.
What I'm saying is, a particular segment of the Nigerian society who are referred to as the elites have better influence, more influence on the NYSC than any other person. And sometimes they even decide where their works.
Isn't that a general problem in Nigeria?
It is.
It is. It's a systemic issue. So we don't have to single out the NYSC. We have a systemic problem. Let us address the system. It's not about NYSC or not NYSC. If you go to other segments, you still find the same
police
out. And the fact that some people have said that the purpose is outdated or the purpose has been defeated, kind of. That's the more reason we should keep it on. I will agree that we can scrap it the day we achieve the aims and objectives of the NYSC, but we haven't achieved it, so we keep working at it. That's why we need to keep the scheme on.
Okay, you can still be part of the conversation. 0816-251-9991, 0908-177-8793. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Please move away from your radio before you go ahead. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Wale calling from Edo State.
Wale from Edo. Thank you for calling.
I think this NYSC, I think to my own, it should have been scrapped.
Why would you say so?
Because you see, like my own daughter now, she graduated since 2019. Because of this cycle of University of 18, she cannot she cannot go to South. She cannot go to the service. So since then now, she will be at home.
I really cannot wrap my head around what
nothing really stops her from working.
Yeah, of course.
She's limited in places she can work. Without NYSC, you can work in
Nigeria.
Nigeria. Just like you can work in government establishments. That's all.
Well, I didn't get what he said actually. Okay, we'll go on a very short break and I'll be back to take more calls and then the conversation continues. All right. Hello, good morning.
I'm calling from Iwaroka. I am Comrade Awe.
Okay. All right.
I want to call your attention to the fact that the whole system is corrupt. There is a chasm in the macrocosm. Unless the macrocosm is taken care of, the microcosm will not be able to function. Which of the systems, which of the department, the MDA, the ministry, the departments, the agencies, which of them is or are functioning now? No one. And that's why NYSC is not an exception. Unless the whole system is overhauled, without being overhauled, you discover that we still meet ourselves in the same mess. And that's why people are advocating for restructuring. If we revert to 1960 Constitution, the Republican Constitution, it will take care of the whole thing. From the look of things, the NYSC has lost its glory and diminishing marginal utility has set in. If it is not done, that is total overhauling, we may not be able to continue. But the system is good, actually, because it's a unified factor. But if we take care of all those problems, prevailing against it, the NYSC program is good. And I advocate that it should continue. God bless Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much. Comrade Awe. Arugundoju. Okay, now there's this belief again that the NYSC should be scrapped because it is a waste of the country's revenue. I don't understand what this person means, but do you think NYSC is a waste of the country's revenue in any way?
For me, with the greatest respect, very genuine reason. It's not fundamental enough. If you talk about waste, the number of waste, even though we say the NYSC has not achieved its mandate, but when you place the NYSC vis-a-vis other segments, take for example, if you ask me, place the NYSC, what it has done to the Nigerian nation, side by side the Nigerian Senate, I still take the NYSC to have performed better.
Do you realize that even after the 1 year mandatory scheme, a lot of Nigerians still go ahead to acquire skills after the NYSC?
They acquire skills when they are in the NYSC, and they do. I think what they could do, one way forward is to do, Mr. Awude, do a post NYSC thing.
Training.
A post NYSC thing. Whether, okay, you guys, like what they are trying to do in Empower, which is a little bit different. But they could look at the idea of Empower, and then people who are coming from NYSC do a post NYSC stuff. Those who intend to go into the military, let them go into the military, because the Nigerian military, those who want to go to the police, and many of them, because that's a very veritable place where Nigerian youths can be absorbed now. Security is there. When you look at the percentage of Nigerians to the military, the Nigerian military has less than 400,000.
Okay, Mr. Awude, one of the bases of good governance in any clime is identifying with the yearnings of the people.
Exactly.
Which it forms one of the bases of good governance. Now, wouldn't you opine, or would you think that instead of youth being left to themselves after the scheme, to find their footing, go into the labor market and start searching for jobs, acquiring skills if they want to, can't we have a situation where skills acquisition trainings would be incorporated even within the 1 year of the mandatory
I think
service?
it is the very minor scope. Now, within the 3 weeks of orientation, they do some of these stuffs. Training,
but not extensively.
It's not extensive. For instance, when I was serving, we took up things on our own. A lot of people went into computer training. That was the in thing then. Computer training, many things like that. But it has to be institutionalized beyond the 3 weeks of orientation. What they just did was what they do now is just to open their minds to those areas. That's all. They don't go deep. So maybe within the 1 year, they can say, okay, you have 3 months to learn a particular skill. Each core member should pick a particular skill of their own choice to learn, to undertake within 3 months. And that should be part of the score.
Yes.
To give them their certificate. So if that is institutionalized, it will go a long way.
All right, let's take another call. Hello, good morning. 081625 9991. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling. What's your name?
Adaba from Ekiti.
Okay, please go ahead.
I think the NYSC should not be scrapped. My question to the legislator who brings this up is the House of Assembly. Are we not direct from this establishment? Why does he not have delegation for the scrapping of the legal? I think the NYSC should not be scrapped.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution. Fash, scrapping of the NYSC program is something that a lot of people do not really support because of reasons that we have highlighted so far on this table. Moving forward now, what do you think should be the way forward?
Hello? Yes, he mentioned, he was talking about employment. I think in terms of considering the restructuring that we're talking about, if considered, one of the things that should be introduced is a percentage of the recruitment the recruitment, when the federal government want to recruit, or probably state government, a percentage of that recruitment should be considered to court members.
They should have slots.
They should have slots because those are the
Sorry. In the real sense of it, you cannot get any government employment without NYSC. So there is no reason allocating slots to them.
Even when you allocate the slots,
as they are completing that mandatory 1 year,
they should be considered for employment.
They should be integrated into
that is the only
civil
scheme
service.
that
I think that's what you're saying.
showcase the actual number of unemployed.
It's not a question of employment, Fash. If we approach it that way, we will still not solve the problem. We won't solve the problem. Government, how many people can government employ? The civil service of Ondo State, how many are they? Maybe 20,000 or 30,000, I don't know. Not more than that. Vis-a-vis the population of Ondo State, which is about 5-6 million.
Yeah.
So you cannot premise it on government employing them. What we went to school to study really is for us to be able to think out of the box. If you are waiting for, when I finish this scheme, the government will employ me. No, it's still the same.
But are you aware that not all graduates are employable?
So certainly I know. But that still does not stop them from engaging in other things.
Okay, now even if the NYSC program is scrapped, it would be tantamount to increased rate of unemployment in Nigeria, because we have a lot of Nigerian masses who make their money from camps and all the rest. People who work in the Mami market, who sell stuff, who sell wares and all of that. Don't you believe so?
I agree. My own sentiments and emotional attachment to the NYSC is the fact that it still remains one of the few institutions, despite its disabilities, that keeps this country together. That's number one. Number two, you have to look at the emotional position of the parents when their children are going on NYSC. That's the social equivalent of it. You cannot quantify it. Parents have that joy of it. That's number one. Then bringing people together. I told you my son served in Element, and he served in the Cross River. Somebody served in. Forget even this. I want to posit here that even this idea of banditry or this thing is fashionable. It will go by natural elimination. It will go. It will definitely go. And what now becomes of that Nigeria oneness? Well, as it is now, we are still talking about Nigeria one. I don't know of tomorrow. But for now, let us still keep the only thing that has still the chance of time. Because even our military, when you come, we are aware that there are so many Boko Haram inside the military, and people are talking of ethnicity and religious within our military and the police and every other thing. But the NYSC have not been able to see a situation where somebody say, because I'm from Ondo or from, so I know somebody from Ondo State who became the best, the guy is from Owo, who became the best NYSC person in one particular state or another state.
Because of our time, Mr. Awuje, going forward, what would be your advice to all parties involved?
Well, it will not be anything different from what we have said here today. That one, the scheme should be retained. Two, it should be restructured, should be properly funded. The government should do what it ought to do, so that the scheme can achieve what it is designed to achieve.
All right, Mr. Fashipe.
I'm particularly concerned about the security of lives, and especially for young people who are youths who are the ones who go for NYSC. And if we would, like we said, I want it to be structured and not to be scrapped. But then the government must provide adequate security for them. You start by letting them serve in their various geographical regions and ensure that we are not losing our NYSC members to insecurity. Okay,
that's a good one. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program this morning. Mr. Dayawudi, thank you for being a part of the program.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Onifashipe, thank you very much for obliging our call.
You're welcome.
And Mr. Shola Ajishafe, it's nice to have you around.
It's always a pleasure being here.
My name is Olabisi Oluwasegun, and as it stands, it's only reasonable for the Nigerian government to ensure that there is adequate security for NYSC members. And whether or not it will be scrapped, only time will tell by now.
.9 FM, your choice station.